Hello, Steve White, Triple89 for Steve Arts 89. Well, I just did a video about the whole canon issues and the Khan issues and the eugenics wars issues and all that. And there are enough problems with the last episode of Picard and the first episode of Strange New Worlds to do a second video. Let's talk about Seven. Now, Seven was just given a field promotion to captain. Now, that's not going to work. She is a renegade, she is a murderer, she's killed people, she's broken Federation law, she's been a smuggler. Are they just going to forget all this and just let someone who has no respect for the Federation and doesn't abide by their guidelines and rules and regulations command one of their starships? Which they could easily turn on other ships and how's that going to work? It's not going to work. I mean, it gave people the feels. Everyone got all, oh, Seven's, she's finally in Starfleet now after being rejected by the evil racist Federation, that discriminated against her because she had Borg, but yet they allowed the other Borg kid to be in Starfleet. I've forgotten his name. I remember the actor's name, but not the kid's name. Ichit. So that doesn't work. That doesn't make any sense. I mean, like I said, it gave everyone the feels. They all got all, oh, yay, but didn't actually think practically how is this going to work. It's not. And then, of course, we have the whole changing the, what was it? The Travellers. Now, I was happy that they made Wesley a Traveller again because he left Starfleet to become a Traveller and didn't seem to go anywhere, and then he just seemed to go back to Starfleet and be behind in his career because he left for years. The idea that he was a traveller again, I really liked that, and the idea that he was sort of involved in maintaining the future and everything, and blah, 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 and the tapestry of time, that was all fine, but to connect that to Gary Seven's people, and they're just connecting too many things, like they're making the universe so small. There are people who are now saying that Girardi's Borg are the Borg that found Voyager and turned it into V'Ger. I'm like, why do you have to make everything small and make the universe so small? Like, why can't there be more than one race of cyborgs and one race of machines? Like, why does it have to be, the Borg, were the ones that created V'Ger? Why couldn't it be someone else that created V'Ger? I mean, I'm fairly sure the distance and the time and all that, it doesn't really work, but people who don't think about that, they just want the universe to be so small and everything has to be the Borg. No, it doesn't. Yeah, so, and the Travellers also being the Gary Seven supervisors or whatever they're called, and I think they're going to try and link the Time Wars basically from Enterprise and the Deep Space Nine's temporal police, was it? I can't remember what they were called either, but there's all these different groups that all worked separately in Starfleet, and they're trying to make them all one thing because they just don't seem to be able to realise that the universe is a big place and there can be lots of different options and different people and different groups and different things. We all have different stories with all of them. We don't have to have it all merged into one thing because it doesn't fit. All these parts don't fit, but yet they keep pushing all this stuff. And it's driving me a little mad because I'm like, why do you need to compress Star Trek, this wonderful giant universe, all into one thing? And then there's the canon issues and the fact that the new shows are a reboot, and then trying to say they're all the same. There was someone put up a timeline on one of the Star Trek pages today, and they managed to find a way to squeeze all the events from the different universes of Picard and Discovery with all the different timeline incursions from the Red Angels, 1,000 or so trips, and all the original Star Trek canon shows all on one blue line. They acknowledged the Mirror universe was a separate universe, and they had the separate timeline for the Kelvin universe, but they had the main universe all one universe, even though they're clearly not, because the historical events don't match up. They're race-swapping characters. They've introduced members to families that aren't there. They've introduced technology that wasn't there. That changes everything, but doesn't change anything because apparently it just disappears. It's just a mess. I'm just like, just acknowledge it's a reboot. Now, I understand when Discovery first came out, they were afraid that people would reject the show like they rejected the JJ films. A lot of fans did. So they just lied and said, yes, it's canon, and thought they could fake it. but that lasted about 10 minutes. When we saw the Klingons was pretty much the first clue that wasn't. Then when we found out, that they created this sister that never existed, all these things like Klingon D7 ships that aren't D7 ships, and then they are D7 ships in the second season because fans complained, so they changed it. All these things that don't add up and don't make sense. The only way they can make sense is if you acknowledge it's a reboot, and then you can have, an alternative. Put it in an alternative universe. So then it's not really a reboot in that sense. It does fit into the overall multiverse of Star Trek, but So I'm going to go because it's 5 minutes, but I just had to talk about those two issues. I wish there weren't so many issues to talk about in the new Star Treks, because I'm trying to enjoy Strange New Worlds and I'm trying to let Picard end well, but they keep doing things to contradict the rest of the shows and the rest of the canon and making it difficult.